Hello,
Money
Money Rumblers,
Rumblers.
and welcome to the Money Rumble.
I'm Jacob. This is Ariana.
We're certified financial coaches.
And today we're going to be talking about why you need an emergency fund.
Why do you need an emergency fund?
When something happens, and something will, you don't freak out.
When your kid breaks an appendage and has to go to the emergency room,
You have the deductible.
Yeah.
Because we all know anytime you go to an emergency room, it's at least $1,000.
at least, yeah. When your husband falls off the roof, you need an emergency fund.
When you say, hey babe, check this out.
Yeah, because women know that those words, or hey mom, watch this, means we're probably going to be spending $1,000.
Or, hold my beer. That never gets old.
Things in our house, when they break, they can be really expensive because oftentimes they are going to involve something that deals with water or electricity.
And any repair that involves water or electricity usually requires a certified technician, which means money.
But I have a homeowner's insurance policy, so won't it cover that?
Yes, it will, but you still have to pay the deductible. So make sure you know how much your homeowner's insurance deductible is, because it might be more than $1,000.
Yep, I know ours is, I believe it's $5,000, so we need to have that amount in the bank should we have water or electricity issue that we need to make a claim on the insurance for.
And if you don't own a home, renter's insurance. That is crucial because that covers your stuff, not the apartment.
Yep. Why else would you need an emergency fund, Jacob?
Well, let's say your company decided you're no longer an asset. You're going to need a little buffer until you can get the unemployment insurance to kick in, or you just go out and until you find that other job.
Another need for an emergency fund is disability. So I don't know if you guys know this, but a 35-year-old has a 50% chance of becoming disabled for a 90-day period or longer before the age of 65.
About 1 in 7 people ages 35 to 65 can expect to become disabled for 5 years or longer. The waiting period can be up to 6 months after you're declared disabled.
So that's after your doctor says, after you've done all this work and going to your doctor, and your doctor finally says, all right, we're going to do the paperwork, you're officially disabled. Now you have a 6-month waiting period. That's a long time to go to wait for a disability check, either from your insurance or from Social Security disability insurance.
Which means it can be up to a year or longer from the day of the incident that you became injured.
So the next one we've actually had to use, unfortunately. This was a need in our emergency fund, was for attending funerals.
I had 4 relatives pass from both sides of my family, and it not only is it emotionally taxing to lose a loved one, but now you have to try to figure out how are you going to attend the funeral. And I couldn't attend them all. I didn't have the funds. I didn't have the funds to attend my loved one's funeral.
Yeah, he attended most of them, but there was one that he couldn't make it to. So. And I wasn't able to go with him for all of them either.
Let's pick up the pace on that a little bit.
Yeah, moving on.
Another reason to have an emergency fund is security, peace of mind. So that when poop hits the fan, you have an umbrella to protect yourself.
Because going into debt when you have an emergency can make it a disaster. You're just
You're piling bad on top of an already bad situation.
Right, it's digging out the bottom to try to get to the top.
Right, it's a temporary reprieve for a long-term pain.
Yeah, paying those debtors back is the long-term pain, right?
Yeah, and people do it because they think, oh, well, I can make the payment. Not realizing how much more taxing that extra payment is going to be.
Now, if you're looking for a good way to get rid of your family in an emergency, you could borrow money from your family.
Or a friend. That's another good way to get rid of some friends. Because, we have so many.
Now, what if it's a gift? Can I take a gift in an emergency?
Maybe. As long as it's understood in the relationship that this is a gift to you to use as you see fit in your priorities, not what the giver sees fit as your priorities.
Or that they're going to be expecting something later down the road. Well, you remember that thing that I gave you and to help you out with your emergency?
You owe me.
Yeah, can you come over and rebuild my deck? That'd be great, thanks.
Thanks. Yeah, so try to avoid situations like that, and you'll know better about your friend and family situation if they do present said gift. And of course, if they do, be grateful. Tell them thanks. Or if you decide not to, you don't want to jeopardize their friendship or the relationship with your family, politely say thank you, but decline.
If you are married or have a significant other, having an emergency fund for women will make you feel more secure in your finances and give you a better understanding and more communication around when we do have an emergency. So it's not immediate stress, immediate worry. We could take back a step. We could take a deep breath. We could say, that's okay. We have the money to cover this. We're going to go in it together rather than at each other's throats. So husbands, it will make your wife feel good in a place that you don't even have. It's a little security gland and it spasms when she doesn't feel secure. So having an emergency fund will make her feel good in a place that you may not understand. You just got to get it so that you get it.
And wives, it makes your husband feel like he's a provider, that he's capable of protecting his family.
Now let's talk about singles for a second, because singles need an emergency fund because it keeps you out of your parents' basement.
And it keeps you off of your friend's couch.
And it keeps you out of your old room that's now a yoga studio or a gym or the attic or wherever your parents are going to shove you because you had to move back home.
Or it keeps you out of your car because family isn't close enough to help.
Yeah, we've both been in a couple of situations like that. So.
Yes, we have. Yeah. So, we know firsthand an emergency fund is a necessity for your security, for your family's security, and just for the peace of mind and knowing that you have the means to handle an emergency.
How much are we talking about, Jacob? We haven't talked about how much are we talking about to start with.
To start with, your emergency fund should be at least $1,000. And you need to get this emergency fund as quickly as possible. You might have it in your bank account already. You just need to earmark it. This is the emergency fund. I do not touch this unless there's an emergency.
Just $1,000 for your starter emergency fund. There's some other stuff we're going to have you do in the next step, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about emergency funds again to build it up to 3 to 6 months. But for right now, this month, building $1,000 into your budget as quickly as possible for your beginner emergency fund.
All right, Rumblers, that's all we have for you today. Get started with your emergency fund.
Yep, as soon as possible.
And we will see you next time on The Money Rumble. Rumblers out.
Rumblers out.